This is Colonel Conrad Reynolds with the Kernel of Truth. Welcome to our show. We have a special guest today, Harrison Floyd. Now, you may not know that name, but Harrison Floyd was in charge of the Black Voices for Trump, and he's one of the people that they've indicted in Georgia. And we want to talk to him. I want to get to know him a little bit better, and we think that this is going to be a great show. So welcome to the show, Harrison.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit, let my audience get to know you just a little bit, and about who you are, where you came from, and a little bit about you as an individual. So can you give us kind of a rundown about who Harrison Floyd really is?
I'm just a very highly blessed and favored guy. The Lord has always been with me and my family. Grew up in a military family, traveling the world. Joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school. My father was born in Alabama, in Montgomery, but raised in Atlanta. And my mother's from Massachusetts. So during the summer, we would always travel to New Jersey and Atlanta. My grandfather lived right around the corner from the Greenbrier Mall. And so Georgia's my home and my heart, because I'm a military brat, like a nomad. Joined the Marine Corps. I was in the infantry as a machine gunner. I was also one of the Marine Corps' first enlisted information operations planner and a martial art instructor trainer. Left the Marine Corps to pursue governance, policy, and politics after a short stint as a career as a professional mixed martial artist. And I was very blessed and fortunate to work on the Trump campaign as the executive director of Black Voices for Trump, led the Black outreach, and was a part of the coalition's team that raised the minority vote, more minority votes for any Republican president since Richard Nixon in 1960.
I think that was outstanding. I mean, unbelievable that how well President Trump did with the African American community, and probably as a result of your efforts and things that you did, and so it's amazing. So right now you are in, you said Maryland, but you're going to be moving back to Georgia. Is that right?
Yes, sir. In about 2 weeks, I'll be moving back down to change my residency.
Okay. And I think I saw a news clip where you said you were doing some exploratory committee. Can you tell us about that?
So it's always been a revolving thing in the back of my head about going back to Georgia and running for Congress again. Before joining the president's reelection campaign, I briefly ran for Georgia 7 and jumped off that to go work on the president's campaign. While I spent a lot of time sitting in that cell, I had a lot of time to reflect and think about what I've been doing over the last 2 years and how I can be a better use and good service to our country. And I'm seriously exploring, coming back to Georgia and running for Congress.
Wow.
It's just a matter of looking at where it being the right fit and my being value added and not distracting or hurting anything that might be going on now to bring about positive, tangible change in the state.
So where exactly, just kind of an idea, where's the Georgia, the 7th district? Where's that at? Where does it encompass?
Georgia 7 is just north east of Atlanta. So it's like Gwinnett, Lawrenceville, Duluth, Sugar Hill, that area. Well, it was every district. I think Cummings was in there a little bit, but now it's out. I think Rich has that district.
East of Dahlonega area, right? East of that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Well, good luck to you on that, man. Running for Congress is not an easy task. It's a lot. How many counties are in that district? Do you know?
So you mentioned it's not an easy task. I was very fortunate to work in very briefly as a fellow in Congressman Doug Collins' office.
Oh, okay.
And when he was a ranking member of Judiciary, and when I first had an inkling of going down there and doing it, he sat me down, him and Miss Lisa, and we had a strong conversation about it. So I know it's a tough task and it's a tough challenge, I've always loved tough tasks and challenges. That's why I joined the Marine Corps and, kind of went the path that I have. But I'm going to be able to do something that nobody else will be able to do in the state. And that's not only bring a national platform, but that's also bring national experience, not only to running this congressional race, but also being able to serve as a member, having that insight, experience, expertise, being exposed to it. So I'll really be able to do something a lot of other people can't, which is hit the ground running hard and fast.
Well, that's great. Now, listen, I've got some questions, but whatever you can't talk about, I understand you're in the middle of this court case, so and you've been given guidance on what you can and can't say. So certainly don't want to get you in any kind of trouble. But I'd like for you, if you could.
Unless it's good trouble, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But give us a little bit what you can about the case, because a lot of people here in Arkansas and across the country really don't understand what is going on right now. They just know a bunch of people were indicted. They really don't understand RICO. They don't understand. Can you give us kind of from your viewpoint, what's going on there with this district attorney, prosecuting attorney?
It's pretty simple. Fulton County engaged in actions that they should not have. They're trying to cover it up. They're digging themselves into a deeper hole, and it's going to be exposed, and a lot of people are going to be very unhappy when the truth comes out. Some people are going to be really happy because they're going to say, I told you so, but a lot of other people are going to be unhappy. So from that perspective, I'm just hoping that once we get there to when the truth will be revealed, because I think it will make sense to a lot of folks that, those who are right can remain humble and still be able to work together with folks that maybe we don't necessarily 100% agree on to bring about tangible change in the country. And those who are wrong will repent and say that they were wrong and be willing to work with people they don't like to bring about tangible change in the country.
Right. How many of the I know as far as, of course, this RICO thing, you bring everybody into one kind of under one umbrella in order to prosecute. That's why the RICO is so effective against mobsters, if you will. But apparently Ms. Willis has used this on several occasions. I think one of her cases were for some educators from the, that were conspiring to, help students get better scores or something like that about a few years ago. So she's used this in different venues, and she's using it apparently now, hoping to tie everybody that has anything to do with Trump together. So my question is, how many of these other people do you even know? Do you know the other defendants that even know them or met them or not?
So, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the reason why the District Attorney Willis is really, truly using the RICO statute is because she's not very bright. She's not a good jurist, and she's not a good district attorney. So the reason why she's using the RICO is because the RICO statute in Georgia is very, very vague and very, very broad, which it allows her to create and weave a narrative that she can tell that is not factually true. That you can just use very slight nuances to try to create things or make them look like they're facts. So, that's the real reason. If we're going to be keep it 100, as we say in the community, like that's why she's really using RICO, because she can't do this any other way. She can't, because she sucks. So, that's what it's really about. But to answer your question, when I looked at that list, obviously we know a lot of those names, right? Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, Jenna Ellis, a couple others. Yes, I have met some of them, and some of them I have not. Yes, I think there's only like maybe less than a handful of them of the 18 that like I actually have their phone numbers like in my phone, or like I ever actually spoke to them on the phone. And then looking at the indictment, there's alleged conversations that took place on the phone. Like, I don't even have their number. Like, that did not happen. And if it did, I was probably just patched in through somebody else, because I was the executive director, I led the Black Coalition for the president's reelection campaign. So a lot of people had my number. A lot of people would try to pull me or patch me into things that I just didn't know them. I just knew there was background folks on a call a lot of times.
Hey, man, this is Will Huff. Nice to see you, and thanks for being on the show. And are you familiar with the YSL RICO charge they got going on there with, is it Gunna?
Free Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug.
Yeah, they got Young Thug and they got Gunna, and they were connecting them through being in the same music video together. Is this kind of like what you're seeing down there? Like she just tries to say, hey, you're connected in some crazy way through the Spider-Verse, and we're going to throw you in this RICO charge too.
Exactly. Well, that speaks exactly to what I was saying and why she's using RICO. She's just trying to draw and create any connection that she can to create this narrative that unfortunately some people who cannot comprehend, I think, what really transpires or takes place at a presidential type level. So she's going to pick, I think she's going to try to pick jurists or jury members that aren't the brightest that will just believe what they hear. But unfortunately for her, her whole narrative on the Democrat narrative has just been getting torn down, and it's just not going to work. People are tired of being lied to, and people can see through the smoke, and they're just not doing a good job of lying to the people anymore.
Well, I've got a bunch of questions, but before we got a couple of minutes before we go to break, and I want to ask you now. There was a decision made yesterday, apparently not to separate. I think it's Mr. Cheesebro and Sidney Powell's cases. They want everybody to go together on October 23rd. Is that true for everybody? Are y'all expecting to go to trial on that date, or is it going to be delayed? Do you know?
So even Judge McAfee said that he doesn't think the district attorney's timeline is realistic. He doesn't think that what she believes is possible is capable from a legal procedural standpoint. There's so many motions and different things that can and will take place. It's not a realistic time frame. I personally don't care one way or the other. I'm happy to go and get on the stand and tell the truth and expose what really happened. I don't care. It can happen tomorrow for me, for all I care. I'm just ready to go and get this out of the way so I can go to Congress and, work to bring about some real change.
Well, they need change in Congress. That is for sure. They need good congressmen up there. And your former boss, I think, was a good one. He was great. So what else? Well, do you have anything else you want to do before we go to break?
Before we go to break and talk about Congress, I guess you're getting a lot of name recognition right now. So that can't be a bad thing if you're thinking about running.
For running, no, it's not a bad thing. I'm actually, people who know me well, I'm a closet introvert. So I don't like my phone going off a lot, and I hate it pinging all the time. But if this is what God is calling me to do, then I'm going to do it, whether I like it or not, because this is what God wants. So I think I can bring about some real change. I can have tough conversations and bring up tough questions that need to be answered from a tactful and respectful manner and in a way that can be substantive. There's no one else really out there like that who can do or is in the position that I'm in. So I'm just going to use what God has given me right now and try and walk a righteous path so these blessings keep flowing through me and I can be an instrument to pass them along to other people.
Well, great. Well, listen, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue the conversation. I've got a few more questions I think that our audience will want to know. So this is Colonel Conrad Reynolds with the Colonel of Truth, and we'll be right back with my special guest, Harrison Floyd. I'm Colonel Conrad Reynolds, and welcome back to the Colonel of Truth. I'm here with my special guest, Harrison Floyd. He's one of the 18 that have been indicted in Atlanta, Georgia. And we've been talking about what happened there. But Harrison, again, thank you for joining our show. And I'd like to ask you, because I did read that there was some issues in Maryland earlier this year with a couple of FBI agents that came to serve or whatever. And I'm kind of fuzzy on that. Could you kind of tell my audience what actually happened in that encounter?
Yeah, and it's funny. One would think that if I or somebody body slammed an official senior aide from the Trump campaign body slammed an FBI agent. That would have been all over the front news, right? When it happened. But in May, two agents came to my house. I did not see a badge. They did not conduct themselves in a professional manner. I had my 2-year-old daughter who was in my hands, who we had just come from her swim class. I don't want to get too much into the facts of that as well, because that's still open and pending. But the truth, the situation fits neatly into what transpired in Fulton County and why the district attorney charged me there. So I did not put my hands on a federal agent, although I was very upset at the time and used language that I probably wish I hadn't. But I'm a father. I'm a former Marine. I was with my daughter. I was put in a position where I felt unsafe, not only for my daughter, but also for myself. And the truth from that is going to come out as well. But no, I did not. Although I wish some people probably wish I had. No, I did not body slam or put my hands on a federal agent. If I had, I'm a black man, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right. Well, I mean, you just showed us one of your belts there. I think that people could get an idea that you could body slam somebody if you really wanted to. I mean, based on your experience and history there.
Yes, sir. Well, also, being a fellow veteran, sir, that we conduct ourselves by certain morals, values, and ethics, right? And so not only being a military man, but also being a martial artist where, we have morals, values, and ethics. There's a certain way that we carry ourselves with these skills that we know and obtain. And so there's no reason for me to get upset and put my hands on somebody, because I know the damage that I can cause, and it won't be good for me or for them. So unless I actually have to defend myself, that's when I will. And if I do have to defend myself, it will be definitive, and it will be quick, fast, and in a hurry. For the need to body slam or puff my chest up or poke somebody in the face to taunt them, like I don't need to do that, man. Like, I work for the president of the United States. I got better things to do at my time.
Right. Well, I understand that. Well, they were trying to deliver a subpoena. Is that right? Is that what they were doing?
That was not what they were doing.
Oh, okay.
That's what they alleged they were trying to do, but that's not what the actions that were taken. That's not the way you conduct yourself. If someone wants to give me a subpoena, you just got to show me a badge. Anybody, show me a badge, show me who you are. Hey, I got this thing for you. You need to go talk to these people. Okay. All right. I don't want any problems with the law. I got other things I want to do. That's not what transpired. That's not what took place. And truth will come out as well. And we'll see what God has in store for those federal agents.
Yeah. A couple other minor questions, but I'm just kind of interested. Was it 2 males, or male and a female, 2 females, agents, or what was it? Why would they be scared? I mean, I don't understand why they, do you remember? Were they 2 guys or 2 girls or what?
I remember exactly. I will never forget who they were. I will never forget what they looked like. And I will never forget what they did.
Yeah.
Because it was the most un-American thing that I have ever witnessed firsthand, aside from going to gym. It is the thing that I went and joined the Marine Corps to go fight against. It is the thing that my friends died fighting against. And they came to my house and did that to me. And my daughter, 2-year-old girl.
Well, so the result of that will probably, I got you, brother. The result of that will be determined when. When is it? Are you supposed to?
That happened in May, and my attorney was still sitting around waiting to hear from it. So at first, I'll give you guys some more insight to this. So at first, the FBI agents sent this to the state level, and they had me arrested by the county sheriff. So it was at the state level. The state of Maryland, after seeing it, said, we're not prosecuting this. The same day I went to court for this to be not prosecuted, and now it's expunged, by the way, off my record. The same day I went to court for that, the assistant U.S. attorney for the state of Maryland calls my lawyer and says, we understand the state of Maryland is not going to prosecute this. We're going to prosecute this at the federal level as a misdemeanor.
Wow.
So I think that should probably tell your audience what they need to know about what really transpired there.
Yeah. So this is appears to be the example of lawfare going against anybody associated with Trump. Would you agree with that, or you think that's probably something there?
Colonel, what is happening right now is this is nothing new. The Black community has been talking about this two-tier justice system and the way that it's been weaponized against the Black community since, slavery. We went from slavery into the Reconstruction, into Jim Crow, The only difference now is that this is now happening to white people. This system is no longer discriminating based on race. It has now decided to discriminate against political affiliation. And so now it's happening to everybody. Right. And so that's a hugely disappointing thing, not only for our country, but also to see all the Republican candidates that are running right now. Nobody's talking about this. Right. And it just goes to show a continued deaf ear to not only the plight of the Black community, but what will become the plight of all Americans, regardless of your race or sexual orientation or ethnicity.
I think that I've seen this. You're exactly right. No one's talking about this in Republican circles. Where are the senators? Where are the legislators? Where are these people coming out and defending all of y'all and what's going on, and somehow saying that we got to do something about this? I've heard very little from anybody. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene was one, but I haven't seen maybe Matt Gaetz, but I haven't seen anybody else. Have you?
No one's talking about it. And you know what? President Trump doesn't have to speak about it because he is a victim of it and being persecuted by it, just like Black men. That's why so many Black men are gravitating towards supporting President Trump, because real recognize real, as we say in the community, and they know the game. They see what's up and they say, no, this has been happening. We got it. We got your back, regardless of what the media is going to say. We're going to stand up for you because we know how to stand up against injustice.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Colonel Conrad Reynolds with the Colonel of Truth, and we'll be back with our special guest, Harrison Floyd. Welcome back to the Colonel of Truth, and I'm Colonel Conrad Reynolds. I'm here with my special guest, Harrison Floyd, who is one of the 18 indicted in Atlanta. Thank you for continuing with us. We got one more segment here. We just want to talk about what exactly happened there in Georgia. Tell us about some of the things that this prosecutor is doing, particularly to you, but to the other defendants, and how unfair. Because I've seen some things. They held you in jail. I mean, it was unbelievable over the weekend because the judge apparently had taken vacation or was gone. I saw Greta Van Susteren, man. She was so angry at the lack of justice in your particular case. Can you talk to us about that and tell us what you saw and how that impacts the other defendants?
Yeah. So when I first found out I was indicted, I was actually at a Christian retreat with the Jack Brewer Foundation in the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. I had no signal. I really didn't know what was going on. With the other situation that we talked about here in Maryland, I already had an attorney helping me with that. So, and I was aware people were reaching out to people. So I was just sitting back. I was waiting to hear a phone call. right? Like, what do I need to do? What needs to transpire? Nobody from the district attorney's office ever reached out to me, or my attorney. The only thing that I knew was that I was supposed to show up at this jail before noon on Friday, right? Like some Wild Western thing. So,
surrender. They use surrender everywhere. Surrender. Yeah, it's crazy.
Correct. So, I thought that was just what I was supposed to do. So, okay, like, I'm a Marine, I got to go do this. I better do it sooner rather than later. So I went the date down the day before. When I first got there, they were trying to not even let me into the jail. And then I was like, no, I'm supposed to be here to surrender. Like, I'm not going to walk away and leave this so you guys can say I'm trying to run, you know? So I get there, I get in, I do the mugshot and everything. And I saw Mark Meadows. He was behind me. I noticed they were just treating him a little bit different. They're a little bit chattier, you know, and just it seemed like a meet and greet type thing. And then next thing I knew, I was in a blue jumpsuit. They took all my clothes and possessions. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but all right. I thought I was just going to be released on my own recognizance, like what happened in Maryland and what I had seen transpire with other folks who were going in. Then the next thing I knew, I was in a cell. And then the next day, I want to say early next day or late that night, I was pulled into like this, it was like something from a movie, like a dark room. There were these people around the table, these two big black guys behind me. And it was the DA's office. And they said they asked me if I wanted a bond. And I said, yeah, I want a bond. Of course I want a bond. Why would I not? But I need an attorney to or somebody to look at it to make sure, you know, I'm not getting screwed over here. And then they just said, all right, that's it. And then they shut everything down. They sent me back to the cell. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting in front of a judge, and the judge is, telling me that I'm a flight risk because of one open pending, you know, charge, which I don't have a criminal background, right? There's only this one thing that's sitting there. And she said that I was denied bond because I was a flight risk, and I was also denied an attorney because I told them, like, yes, I'm happy to talk to you guys, but I need an attorney present, right? But she said I told her that I had spoken to several lawyers like in that week about just these charges, and that it was between $40,000 to $100,000 just to retain a lawyer for this, and then they charge you hourly after that. And I said, look, I have a family. There's this other thing that's going on. I do not have. I worked for President Trump, but I do not have President Trump kind of money, and I can't afford one. So I need one to help me with this because it's what it says in the Miranda rights. And I also told the judge I hadn't been Mirandized. Like, no one read me my rights. No one did anything. They just threw me in a cell for 6 days. And the most upsetting part, though, was seeing the judge smile and like laughing as she's telling me I can't have a lawyer and denying me bond for one misdemeanor that's still open when I don't have a criminal background. Yet President Trump, you know, is being charged in multiple jurisdictions with multiple different felonies, right? Some of these other co-defendants as well, but they walked right in and walked right out. Like as she was talking, I just was like, okay, I see what this is. You're making an example out of me because I'm the black guy. Okay, all right, got it.
You know, I saw the Breakfast Club interview where they talked about you. I don't know if you saw Charlemagne, but he kind of made fun of you, saying you were calling black people racist for the way you've been treated. But really what you're saying is they're coming after you because you know, stepped out of line from groupthink. Is that what you're seeing there?
Charlemagne's just being silly and saying what he's supposed to say so he can stay on the Breakfast Club and have that platform and get the money that he's getting. He knows exactly what I was saying. He's a black man. He knows what's up. I've sat in rooms with him and heard him speaking to Senator Tim Scott. He's just doing what he needs to do to tap dance and sing mammy, as we say. So I'm not mad at him for doing what he was doing. The problem, you know, and it didn't make sense what he was saying, right? Is, you know, that's a part of God moving through this situation and using me as an instrument, because the truth is the truth, and what I'm saying is what I'm saying, and it's presenting itself as it's presenting itself. So he's saying, you know, how can you call black people racist? Well, wasn't calling them racist. I was calling the system racist, and what they were doing and what they were allowing to transpire was racist. District Attorney Willis is a strong Black woman. Her father supposedly was a Black Panther. You would think she would be doing right by Black people, right? Mm-hmm. You would think that jail would not be in the condition that it's in, especially with it being filled with predominantly Black males. But District Attorney Willis is not the one who's in charge. It's these racist white liberals in D.C. who are telling her what to do, and she's following their orders. So take that as you will.
You talked about your lawyers and the fees and stuff. How can people who are watching our show help you make sure you have the right lawyers and the help you need? How can they support you? I
have been so blessed by the outreach of people who've been coming to support me. I have great lawyers who, with what we have already, you guys just the stand by for an extended heat forecast for Georgia, because it's going to be hot through this winter. But I have great lawyers who they're doing a lot of work pro bono and helping me. And but there is a Gibson Go, which we've been so blessed with, raising funds. We're not quite there yet, and the bar is lower than what we know we're really gonna have to do. I think we put our goal at like $350,000, but it's probably gonna cost closer to $500,000 or more. But if anyone can donate, greatly appreciated. If you can't donate, would definitely ask that you please do one of the prayer things on there, or just leave a kind note. My mother told me that when I was locked up down there, that they were constantly looking at it and scrolling through the comments, and it kept them going and encouraged. So please do that. And also for Kathy Latham, she's a former teacher like my wife, and they do not get paid what they're supposed to. And she is very, very low on her Gibson Go as well. So if I would also, I would actually probably ask, please, if you can donate to Kathy, donate to her before you donate to me.
Is there a website people can go to that you know?
Yeah, it's on Gibson Go. I can't remember the actual handle and everything. If you go on my Twitter page, it's HW_Floyd. I posted both mine and Kathy's on there, so you'll be able to get to him directly. But she is hers is way, way down there. I think she's only been able to raise like 18,000 right now. And her goal is at like 200 for the lawyers that are working for her. So I've been blessed, and we're doing pretty well. But if you can give to her and the others, please do. If you want to give to me, I'd be greatly appreciated. But God has got me. I know he's moving through this. I've seen him through every step of the way. I have had zero fear when I stepped in that cell, and I will have zero fear moving forward. So, yeah.
So I just want to make sure that our audience gets this. It's H and then W, which is, that's William. Is that your middle name? One of your middle names?
So in my family, we have two first names. So my first name's Harrison William.
Harrison William. Okay. And then _Floyd, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just want to make sure that they got that, because we want people to be able to donate if they so choose. Because a lot of the people who are indicted don't have the financial means to pay, and you're going against a huge apparatus of the state, and they have unlimited funds. So we know that.
We're going to break them. By the grace of God.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to get it right.
That's it. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on our show. We appreciate it very much. I know you've got to take your daughter off to school, so I'll let you do that, but we'll have you back. I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely. Anytime, Colonel. Always happy to sit down and speak with a fellow veteran and patriot. And thank you, sir, for everything that you're doing with making sure that there's a way for people to get the truth, and for providing a platform for folks like myself to be able to be heard.
That's what we tell everybody. Listen, if they want to watch this video, they can go to, for those who are listening on the radio, they can go to FortTruth.com. We say that's where lives come to die, and we try to make sure that everybody gets the truth. Thank you so much for coming on, Harrison. We'll talk to you later. You have a great day. Give this video a thumbs up, if you will. Like and subscribe to our channel. Very important for us to spread this message to everybody, and I can't do it without your help. This is the Colonel of Truth. And I'm Colonel Conrad Reynolds, and thank you for joining us.